trap shit. Sergeant Smack make it backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the vital speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby May. Just caught a touchdown from the bay.
A number of businesses like the Broadway Palm here in Fort Myers was able to secure a PPP loan to keep their doors open and to keep people employed, but not everyone spent the money legitimately.
I don't know if I'd still be in business. It was that important of a lifeline to us.
This time last year, the stage was dark, the future uncertain. Then his PPP loan came through.
It allowed me to keep a vast majority of my management team employed.
But not everyone spent the money that way.
But it is disheartening to see that not only happened nationwide, but high-profile cases right here in Southwest Florida.
Casey Crowther owned Target Roofing. He received $2.1 million in PPP money. He used it to buy a $700,000 boat and a lavish lifestyle.
These people that took advantage of it, they should pay the crime.
Everyone know that Target Roofing did receive approximately $2 million in PPP program funds. Once it received those funds were utilized to actually employ 50 members of the workforce, 50, and Target Roofing expended $3.5 million in payroll alone during the relevant time period. It's $1.5 million more than the funds that they received. Those PPP funds were used and utilized for exactly what Congress intended it to be used for. Target Roofing was able to actually hire back employees that they had either laid off or furloughed during the February-March time period when COVID-19 started. They were able to maintain those employees during a global pandemic, and more importantly, they were able to pay those employees. All of those workers got paid with assistance from the PPP program, but also assistance from Target Roofing. Target Roofing intends to continue to serve the community in Southwest Florida. They appreciate their customers, they appreciate the support they've received, and most of all, they appreciate their team of workers. They hope to continue to create jobs for this community, because that's exactly what this PP program was for, to maintain jobs, to create jobs, and let's keep the people of Fort Myers and the Lee County area paid. It's unfortunate and we're disappointed that the government decided, even with this information, to continue towards indictment, but we plan on aggressively defending the allegations, and both Mr. Crowther and myself look forward to our day in court.
Why do you think the federal government has sitting all that?
That's all we have. I can't tell you what the federal government is thinking, but from our perspective, we're going to keep creating jobs, we're going to keep employing the employees of Target Roofing, and we're going to keep serving our customers. And that's the final word of Target Roofing. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate your respect.
Next month and faces 40 years in prison.
I would think that the case here in Fort Myers specifically was that probably somebody dropped a dime.
Also reported was this Miami man. He used part of his nearly $4 million in PPP funds to buy a Lamborghini.
The government now, with a new inspector general that's been appointed, I think right now they're going to go down and, just like tax returns, they're going to audit certain people at certain locations here in the state of Florida,
expecting to find even more.
It does send up a red flag and a warning.
But those like Will Prather, who spent it properly, have already had their loan forgiven.
You're my lucky charm, roll on!
And are closer to being back to normal.
We have a production of Grease that will be running all of July and into early August.
Now, lawmakers say the key right now is to find people who abuse the system. If you suspect someone may have abused their PPP loan, you can report it to the Inspector General's office at 202-927-7899. In Fort Myers, Dave Elias, NBC2.
Have some respect. Respect that you're guilty on all 4 counts. Anything you have to say. Breaking news at 5, a Lee County businessman is guilty of greedy crimes. Casey Crowther is likely headed to prison after buying a new boat and house with taxpayer money meant to help his employees. Thanks for watching NBC2. I'm Peter Bush.
And I'm Kelly Burns. It took the jury just over an hour to find the 35-year-old roofer guilty on all 4 counts of COVID relief fraud. The charges include bank fraud, lying to a bank, and lying about how he was using PPP money. NBC2 Shannon Clow joins us live outside the federal courthouse downtown after talking to Crowther's family.
Well, Kelly, I can tell you from the beginning of this trial, his family would come up to me saying he is innocent. But I can tell you today, the jury finding him guilty of lying to Sanibel Captiva Community Bank to get that PPP loan, to which he used it for his personal expenses. He used that to buy a mere $700,000 boat.
Do you have any comment, anything to say? Can you tell us why you did it?
Walking out of federal court, a guilty man.
Can you answer the question as to why you would use that money to buy a boat? The PPP funding?
Casey Crowther's attorney, Brian Dickerson, tried to block me from asking Crowther why he did it.
You say you're a community member. You have a big business here. Anything to say to your customers? How you spent the money?
Crowther walked in silence for most of the way, with no explanation as to why he spent his $2.1 million PPP loan, which was intended to help struggling small businesses, for his personal expenses, like buying a 40-foot catamaran.
Nothing to say at all.
Crowther now facing up to 140 years in federal prison, and the judge has yet to set the sentencing date. Kelly?
Shannon, these are federal charges, and that usually means Crowther will serve at least 85% of his sentence, perhaps?
Yeah, so Kelly, the math on that would be 119 years in federal prison, and that really just goes to show you the severity of these charges. Kelly and Peter?
Shannon Clow outside the court.
Yo, we back. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb ties. We on our way to Florida with it. Fort Myers to be exact. Now, this episode is going to be a hot topic, something that was the debate of the summer. I've really covered this gentleman and this topic to get some dialogue going in the comment box below. Now, today, before we get into the person that we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Paycheck Protection Program. How many of you guys ever heard of the Paycheck Protection Program? Now, for those of you that have been living under a rock, the Paycheck Protection Program, or a PPP loan, is something that was widely talked about on the internet, widely talked about on YouTube and the streets. Some of my niggas tuned into the Mobb hit for the PPP loans. Y'all watch how y'all talking in the comment box, because it's real dangerous down there. Now, today we're going to be talking about a guy by the name of Casey David Crowther. He's going to be 35 years old, from Fort Myers. Now, according to evidence that was presented at his trial, Mr. Crowther obtained a $2.1 million PPP loan by falsely stating that he intended to use the money to make payroll and pay for rent and utilities for his company, Target Roofing and Sheet Metal Incorporated. But the authorities would say, however, Crowther intended to use the money to enrich himself, and once the loan was obtained, quickly he used the proceeds to make a series of personal purchases, including a $700,000 boat and a $100,000 payment to a former business partner. So, man, shout out to whoever that former business partner was. You got your bread, man. He put his life on the line for that shit. Now, the authorities are going to say that Mr. Crowther concealed the scheme by providing false explanations for all the expenditures to his bank, calling the boat equipment and the payment to his partner as payroll, to ensure that he did not need to pay the loan back under the terms of the PPP program. Crowther added multiple family members to his company's payroll who did not actually work or perform any kind of duties at the job. Crowther also created 39 fake employees along with fake identification documents, including social security cards, in an attempt to show that his company was using the funds appropriately on payroll. So now, with all the evidence that was presented, he would end up pleading guilty to 1 count of bank fraud, 1 count of making false statements to a financial institution related to a mortgage fraud scheme. Now, they're going to say in that scheme, he created false bank statements to justify a loan that he used to purchase a nearly $1.3 million waterfront house in St. James City, Florida. Damn. Now, I guess the $1 million question everybody is asking is, well, how do they handle the PPP loans? Do you got to pay them back? And the main one, are you going to go to jail? Now, based on my research from this, they say he took roughly about $2.1 million. He was sentenced towards the end of July, and he actually received 3 years in prison. So, on my mathematicians, y'all divide that 2.1 by that 3 years and tell me how much on average, he made a year. Now, I really didn't see anything about him having to forfeit anything, but I'm almost sure that's probably part of the game. But this story is so wicked because usually when we think about PPP loans, we think about black people, we think about the hood, but we know the white people and the businessmen are finessing it. And the thing about Casey Crowther is he was pretty well off. If you do your research on him, you're going to see that his wife raced horses. They actually have horses. His dad has to be like some kind of prominent businessman, because when this indictment was handed down on his son, he released a statement. So he was brought up by wealth, and he went in and decided to make 39 fake employees along with fake identification documents and social security cards. My magic question is not how much time you're going to get for the PPP loan. My magic question is, if he was black, how much time he would have got. That's your boy Popalot. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, POP_A_LOT. We're going to be back with some more real trill spill shit. I'm going to break this shit down for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. Y'all get at me in the comment box below. Y'all get at me on Instagram under the pictures and a direct message. On Twitter, however, at me. I'm with all the shit. It's your boy Pop, man. Mobb, ties.